The studio was quiet, save for the faint hum of the air conditioning and the shuffling of stylist assistants rushing across the polished wooden floor. Zhang Ling stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, watching the golden afternoon sunlight wash over the sprawling skyline of Beijing. Dressed impeccably in a tailored DIOR suit that accentuated his tall, striking silhouette, he looked every bit the modern gentleman. Yet, his mind wasn't entirely on the rigorous schedule of the day or the crew members bustling around him. Today's commercial shoot for DIOR carried a unique energy, primarily because he was slated to share the frame with Tian Shui, an actress whose vibrant charm and radiant screen presence always managed to turn heads. A sudden burst of lively laughter echoed from the corridor just outside the dressing room, instantly signaling her arrival. Tian Shui glided into the studio, bringing an infectious wave of warmth and high spirits that seemed to instantly lift the atmosphere of the entire room. She wore an ethereal DIOR dress that flowed gracefully with her every movement, striking a perfect balance between sophisticated elegance and youthful playfulness. Her expressive eyes sparkled with mischief as she greeted the director and the photography crew with a bright, cheerful wave. When she turned and her gaze finally met Zhang Ling's across the spacious room, a mutual flash of recognition passed between them, born from past industry encounters and a comfortable, easygoing rapport. Zhang Ling offered a gentle, reassuring smile, stepping forward to bridge the distance between them and offering a polite, friendly greeting. Shui responded with her trademark bubbly enthusiasm, immediately breaking any lingering tension that often accompanied high-profile brand collaborations. The crew quickly gathered around to review the mood board for the afternoon session, which aimed to capture a narrative of effortless romance and modern cinematic luxury. The concept required them to portray an inseparable pair sharing intimate, candid moments in a high-fashion urban setting. As the director explained the vision, both actors listened intently, nodding in sync while occasionally exchanging amused glances at some of the more dramatic poses suggested. Moving into the hair and makeup touch-up zone, the stylists worked swiftly to ensure every detail of their looks remained flawless under the harsh studio lights. Ling glanced sideways, watching how effortlessly Shui laughed with her makeup artist while holding a handheld mirror to check her lip shade. She caught him looking and playfully stuck her tongue out, a spontaneous gesture that broke the professional formality and drew a low, warm chuckle from him. It was these little, unguarded moments that hinted at a natural, unforced chemistry, one that didn't require a script or direction to feel entirely authentic and grounded. The first set was designed to mimic a sophisticated Parisian café balcony, complete with wrought iron railings, lush potted ivies, and a backdrop of soft focused city lights. Ling took his position first, leaning casually against the railing with one hand tucked into his pocket, embodying quiet confidence. When Shui stepped onto the set, the photographer immediately let out an appreciative whistle, recognizing the instant visual harmony they created together. She stepped gracefully toward him, resting a light, elegant hand against the lapel of his jacket as the camera began to click rhythmically, capturing the opening frames of what promised to be an unforgettable shoot. The shutter snapped continuously, filling the studio with a steady, hypnotic mechanical pulse that guided their movements. The photographer shouted encouragement, urging them to lean closer, to look deeper into each other's eyes, and to let the romance feel lived in rather than forced. Ling tilted his head down slightly, bringing his face mere inches from Shui's as they recreated a whispered conversation for the camera. His deep, steady gaze held hers with an intensity that made the air between them feel suddenly charged, while Shui responded with a soft, captivating smile that made her eyes curve into crescent moons. Between takes, the professional barrier gently melted away, replaced by casual banter and shared jokes about the absurdity of some high-fashion posing angles. Ling playfully mimicked one of the more dramatic arm placements the photographer had requested earlier, causing Shui to double over with genuine, ringing laughter. She playfully nudged his arm, telling him that his modeling skills were entirely unfair to anyone else sharing a frame with him. He just smiled, his eyes softening as he watched her laugh, appreciating the effortless way she brought warmth and lightness into an otherwise exhausting workday. As they transitioned to the second set, a minimalist, sun-drenched lounge draped in sheer white curtains, the mood shifted from playful to deeply intimate. This segment called for softer, more tender interactions, focusing on tactile closeness and subtle emotional undertones. Ling sat on a plush velvet sofa, and Shui gracefully settled beside him, her head resting lightly against his broad shoulder. He instinctively shifted his posture to provide a comfortable anchor for her, wrapping one arm loosely around the back of the couch while his other hand gently traced the delicate fabric of her sleeve. The lighting technician dimmed the overhead lamps, allowing the warm, golden hues of a simulated sunset to wash over the set, casting long, romantic shadows across the floor. The photographer moved in closer, whispering instructions for them to stay completely still and just breathe into the moment. Ling turned his head slightly, his gaze lingering on the delicate curve of Shui's profile and the way the golden light caught the stray strands of hair framing her face. Sensing his heavy, appreciative gaze, Shui slowly lifted her eyes to meet his, holding a silent, lingering look that felt entirely too real for a staged commercial advertisement. In that quiet second, the boundary between performance and reality seemed to blur entirely for everyone watching from behind the monitors. The camera operator later confessed that his hands had nearly shaken during that specific frame because the emotional intensity radiating from the duo was so palpable. There was no awkwardness, no hesitation, just a seamless blending of two distinct personalities creating a shared atmosphere of pure, unfiltered cinematic magic. Their breathing seemed to synchronize, a silent testament to the deep, intuitive comfort they had built with one another over the course of just a few hours. Director Lee broke the silence by calling a brief 5-minute water break, shattering the spell and causing both actors to blink as if waking from a pleasant dream. Shui immediately shifted, pulling back with a light, self-conscious laugh and brushing a hand across her flushed cheeks. Ling offered a gentle smile, standing up to stretch his tall frame and casually handing her a bottle of mineral water from the nearby table. They sat side by side on the edge of the sofa, quietly reviewing the preview shots displayed on the photographer's laptop screen and murmuring approval at the stunning results. The digital monitor displayed frame after frame of undeniable chemistry, showcasing an aesthetic perfection that left the entire production crew whispering in awe. In every shot, whether they were laughing, staring intently into the distance, or sharing a quiet moment of physical closeness, they looked like the leads of a blockbuster romantic drama. The DIOR brand representatives, standing quietly in the corner of the studio, exchanged thrilled nods, instantly recognizing that this campaign was going to exceed all initial expectations and create massive waves online. Returning to the floor for the final sequence of the day, the energy shifted once again, this time toward high-fashion sleekness and bold, dramatic styling. Ling adjusted his collar, adopting a sharper, more commanding posture that highlighted his striking facial features and authoritative aura. Shui mirrored his energy, transforming her demeanor into something fierce yet effortlessly alluring, locking eyes with him as they posed back to back like modern royalty. The interplay of their contrasting yet complementary energies created a visual feast that commanded attention from every single person in the room. The final shot required them to walk toward the camera hand in hand, embodying a powerful, unified front that screamed modern luxury and timeless romance. As the director counted down the final seconds, Ling laced his fingers securely through Shui's, feeling the soft warmth of her hand against his palm. They moved in perfect sync, their strides matching effortlessly as they advanced toward the lens with bright, confident smiles that felt genuine and completely unforced. When the director finally shouted, "And cut," "That's a wrap," a resounding cheer erupted across the entire studio. Applause filled the room as the crew members rushed forward with robes, touch-up kits, and congratulatory remarks celebrating a phenomenally successful shoot. Ling and Shui stood together amidst the commotion, still holding hands out of pure habit before letting go with soft, lingering smiles. They bowed slightly to the hard-working staff, expressing their sincere gratitude to the photographers, stylists, and brand managers who had worked tirelessly behind the scenes to bring the vision to life. The physical fatigue of a 12-hour workday was instantly replaced by the collective high of artistic satisfaction. As evening descended, the raw digital files were swiftly transferred to the public relations team, who immediately began selecting the prime teaser images for immediate release. Within minutes of the first official photo dropping on DIOR's official social media channels, the internet reacted with unprecedented speed and fervor. The picture featured Ling looking down with an impossibly tender expression while Shui leaned into his chest, her hand resting delicately over his heart. It was a masterclass in visual storytelling, capturing a level of raw, organic intimacy that instantly sent shockwaves through the global fandom. Hashtags bearing both of their names skyrocketed to the top of trending topics across multiple platforms within a remarkably short span of 20 minutes. Netizens and dedicated fan communities flooded comment sections with frantic theories, endless praise, and awestruck reactions about their explosive, undeniable chemistry. Fan art accounts began sketching the campaign images with astonishing speed, while edits pairing their previous interviews and variety show appearances started racking up millions of views. The digital landscape was practically melting under the sheer weight of excitement generated by this unexpected yet wildly successful pairing. Media outlets picked up the story overnight, publishing glowing articles analyzing their styling, their physical compatibility, and the cinematic quality of the promotional campaign. Entertainment commentators noted that it was rare for a brand endorsement to spark this level of organic, fervent buzz without a pre-existing drama airing to support it. Fans dissected every single pixel of the released photographs, pointing out subtle details like the wailing Hayes' hand protected Shui's back or how her eyes softened whenever she looked in his direction. The narrative of an unspoken, beautiful connection quickly took root and spread like wildfire across international fandoms. Back in their respective private vehicles heading home from the studio, both actors finally had a moment to catch their breath and check their phones. Ling scrolled through his notifications, watching in mild amusement as his mentions exploded with enthusiastic fans begging for a drama collaboration between them. He clicked on one of the high-resolution campaign photos, zooming in to examine the intricate details of the lighting and composition before saving it quietly to his personal gallery. A quiet, satisfied smile played at the corners of his lips as he reflected on how effortlessly smooth the entire collaboration had felt. At the same time, Shui was laughing aloud in the back of her van as her manager read out some of the most dramatic and creative fan comments flooding her latest post. She scrolled through the endless ocean of heart emojis, supportive messages, and fervent requests for a future reunion project on the big screen. The sheer positivity and warmth from the audience felt like a comforting embrace, validating all the hard work they had poured into making the photo shoot look effortlessly magical. She tapped a quick, appreciative heart on the official DIOR post before locking her phone and looking out the window at the glittering city lights. The following morning, the physical print magazines featuring the campaign hit the stands across major metropolitan cities, causing morning lines outside major bookstores. Entire display windows of flagship DIOR boutiques were overhauled overnight to feature giant, floor-to-ceiling posters of the duo, drawing crowds of pedestrians who stopped in their tracks to admire the stunning visuals. Social media algorithms continued to favor the campaign, pushing the photographs onto the feeds of millions of users who hadn't even been familiar with either celebrity prior to the launch. The cultural footprint of the single photo session had expanded far beyond simple fashion marketing. Industry insiders began placing speculative calls to production companies, wondering if any savvy producers were already moving to capitalize on the massive public demand for a joint acting project. Casting directors noted that chemistry like theirs could not be manufactured or taught in acting classes. It was a rare, lightning-in-a-bottle phenomenon that happened only when two compatible souls crossed paths at the exact right moment. The public's overwhelming reaction proved that viewers were hungry for genuine, high-quality